It has been interesting from the opening gun, especially in the funny car competition, as Don the Snake Prudhomme was upset by young Billy Meyer. Prudhomme with 27 career victories, a four-time national champion in funny car competition. He'd won the Winter Nationals 4 consecutive times, the first man ever to break 6 seconds in a funny car back in 1976. Knocked off by the 24-year-old from Texas. Prudhomme losing for the third time to this youngster Meyer. Now Prudhomme in the left lane in the white car. Knew full well there were some bugs in his machine as he came to the Christmas tree and waited for the green light. Just how big those bugs were, he really did not know. But from the very beginning, Meyer had control of the sprint over the quarter mile. And he went flashing off to a victory at 6.187 seconds, 241 plus miles an hour, and the Snake was gone. A stunning upset to start the day. And Don Prudhomme spent a reflective moment with Chris Economaki.
Well, Don, you know what both ends of the wide world are like now.
Yeah, that's for sure.
How long has it been since you suffered a first-round defeat?
Well, it's been a while. Quite a while. But
what do you attribute it to? Better man or problems with the equipment? What?
No, we've had problems. He ran a good race against us and everything. It's just that we don't have our act together is basically what it amounts to. Something went wrong, and we've been searching for it for the last couple of months, and we just haven't been doing good. We've tried in different combinations and trying to get out of that slump, but it's one of those things.
What's it do to you inside, Don?
Well, it's just not good, It's a disheartening thing, especially when you think you're doing the right things, and it's not. It eats you up, that's for sure.
You put any of the blame on your own shoulders?
Well, sure I do. I put all the blame on it. It's strictly my responsibility, and it's a situation that my guys try everything they can try and do everything, and I call the shots, and I haven't called them right, apparently.
How long does it take to get over something like this?
It takes a while, until the next race, the next national event, the next time you're in the winner's circle, then you forget all about it.
Thanks a lot.
Now we move into the present tense as we see Billy Meyer come out one more time in the final run of the quarterfinal section of the funny car competition. Meyer in the red car here will go against 37-year-old Tom Hoover of Minneapolis, Minnesota in the left lane in the yellow car. Hoover, the 8th qualifier in the funny cars, 6.267 seconds, which tells you that he has been steady and he has been quick. Hoover's car prepared by his chief mechanic, his father, 73-year-old George Hoover. Billy Meyer, who's been racing funny since he was 17. The cars move into the staging area. Both staging lights are lit. At the top end, it is Tom Hoover. Hoover puts him away at the top end. Better than 233 miles an hour, 6.182 seconds. And old pro Tom Hoover moves on to the semifinals in the funny car competition. So Tom Hoover, who suffered severe burns a year ago, is back running hard. Now we're getting ready for the funny car semifinals. Here's Chris Economaki to talk to a man named Hoover.
Okay, Tom Hoover goes against Trip Shoemake in the funny car semifinals. You confident, Tom?
I'm up and up and up.
How you going to handle him?
With all I got, we're going to put it down about a 6:14 or better.
Yeah, you look a little nervous.
I'm nervous, but I've been here before. I think I can do it.
Go get him.
I'm going to try.
Now we're ready for the funny car semifinals with Tom Hoover moving into his starting position near the tree against 30-year-old Trip Shoemake right there driving Johnny Loafer's car. Trip Shoemake just beginning to make his move in late 1978. Qualified second fastest, 6.131 seconds. So he is a man to be reckoned with. It will be Hoover in the near lane and Shoemake in the far lane. And they move into the staging area. The winner goes to the finals. It is Hoover at the top end. Tom Hoover from Minneapolis. right at 235 miles an hour, 6.24 seconds. And so the veteran continues to run very smoothly and very well. Tom Hoover marching right along into the funny car semifinals, and now he'll have a rest, cock an ear toward the public address announcer, and wait to see which man will join him in the big run for the money between Raymond Beedle and John Collins. Raymond Beedle, at 35 years of age, a successful businessman with a string of performance centers driving the Blue Max car, won the 75 U.S. Nationals, beating Don Prudhomme, the only man other than Prudhomme to break 6 seconds in the funny car competition. John Collins, age 30, out of Long Beach, California, qualified third fastest among the funnies. He's been driving this kind of racing machine since 1970. He came strong at the end of 78. Now they move carefully into the staging area. The winner will go into the funny car final against Tom Hoover. Both are now staged. Collins got a little crooked. It's close. Oh, it is close. It is Beedle, the winner in the Blue Max. And listen to this as we take another look at the finish. Beedle, 6.278 seconds. Collins actually ran a faster race, 6.275, but the whole shot by Beedle was just enough, and he goes into the funny car finals against Tom Hoover. Right now, that rattling roar is coming from the funny cars as Raymond Beedle moves up along with Tom Hoover to the starting area. Beedle, who was the top qualifier among the funny cars, battling his way through an awesome group of competitors along with Hoover to reach this magic moment. Tom Hoover will be running in the left lane nearest the camera. Right there in the showtime, the Blue Max, Beedle's car, is across the way. Remember that Beedle is the only man other than Prudhomme to break 6 seconds in this class. It is a bad start for Beedle. He's sideways, he's crooked, he's out of it. It's a waltz for Hoover.
One of the all-time crowd favorites in all of drag racing is funny cars. The 2,000 horsepower fiberglass-bodied creations that are a sight to see. And we're in the second round of racing. Here are some of the drivers. From Waco, Texas, Billy Meyer. Gordy Bonin, winner of this event back in 1977 and the only Canadian ever to win a funny car title in NHRA competition. Ron Coulson, the driver of Roland Leong's Hawaiian. This is Tom Hoover, the man that won the Winter Nationals and is currently the points leader in the World Championship Series points chase. Tom McEwen, the winner of the U.S. Nationals last year with the biggest upset of his career when he beat his longtime competitor, Don Prudhomme, the man that has won 4 straight World Championship titles. Raymond Beedle, the Blue Max, number 2 qualifier here at the Gator Nationals. Going through a tough season last year, but ending it by winning the World Finals out in Ontario, California, and coming to the starting line, the famed Blue Max of Raymond Beedle from Dallas, Texas. Alongside of Beedle, the brand new car of Roland Leong, the bright green Corvette-bodied creation, Ron Coulson at the wheel. This is the Hawaiian. Leaving the line together, but then lots of smoke and both cars out of control. And it's close at the finish line as Raymond Beedle tops Ron Coulson, a 6.69 second elapsed time. Far cry from Beedle's qualifying 6:18. But here in slow motion, you see why. The smoking tires indicating loss of traction. Both drivers keeping their cars under control. Beedle recovering just a little bit quicker. Let's go to the finish line and Steve Evans.
One of the most popular funny cars with the fans coast to coast is the Blue Max, and Raymond Beedle, all of the people that root for you are sure happy to see you back in the low teens, the number 2 qualifier, and that was the best funny car race of the day.
Yeah, we both smoked the tires. I saw him, and we had a little driving job there. I think both of them have to drive. We recovered better, so.
You think the track's going to come around, or you're going to have to adapt to it?
I think we're going to have to adapt. It's a little tricky. I was thinking it's a little better, but we hopped her up a little bit, and she wouldn't take it, so I guess we're going to take a little more back out of it.
Here's the man that has won 4 straight World Championship titles, a feat unheard of in all of sports, not just motorsports, but to be this consistent in drag racing in the most difficult car of all to drive, the front engine funny car. Don Prudhomme's the man that's done it. Billy Meyer alongside of him won 2 national events in the past couple of years. Here you see the Christmas tree as the drivers look at it. As they approach the starting line, they light the staging bulbs. That indicates to the starter they're both ready to go. Let's watch for the one amber light, then green, and they're off. No tire smoke in this race. And Don Prudhomme wins it. 6.31 seconds. His speed 236 miles an hour. A close race. Billy Meyer ran a 6:37, just 0.06 of a second slower. Both cars running 236 miles an hour. Here you see in the instant replay, Prudhomme wins it by about 2 car lengths.
Don Prudhomme, you go into the semifinals. You don't seem pleased with your ET, though.
No, we're just getting by.
I understand what you mean. I don't want my arm cut off as the body comes down, so we'll let the snake go.
And Don Prudhomme heads back to the pits with his Plymouth Arrow-bodied funny car, the 4-time world champion. Not too happy with the track conditions. You heard Raymond Beedle say he's going to have to adapt to it, and so is Prudhomme as he moves to the semifinals. Here's the man that won the national championship by defeating Don Prudhomme in the finals at the U.S. Nationals, Tom the Mongoose McEwen. One of the strongest proponents of the Corvette body on a funny car. McEwen made it work before anyone else was very successful with it. Then a lot of people came along. Here's one of the best. This is Tom Hoover, the winner of the Winter Nationals and the current leader in the World Championship Series points chase in Funny Car Eliminator. Both cars smoking the tires. Hoover recovering very quickly. McEwen looks like he blew a motor. And Tom Hoover won the race, 6.56 seconds at 230 miles an hour. But that puff of smoke just before he entered the speed traps out of Tom McEwen's car, generally indicative of something letting go. We're watching the instant replay as we see Hoover recovering very quickly as his tires lost traction right off the start. McEwen and Hoover side by side in the middle of the course. And let's see, right there, and sure enough, you can see the change of color as now you see the oil starting to pour out of the engine, and Tom Hoover just barely creeping by, and that's how close it was. Tom Hoover defeating Tom McEwen, the crew wiping the oil down off of McEwen's car. He's not happy. Nobody likes to lose, particularly losing a $15,000 engine in the process. This is Gordy Bonin to race Al Sigrini, but where is Sigrini? With that word, there's been some problems. Let's go back into the pits with Steve Evans and find out what they are.
As Gordy Bonin heats up his tires, preparing to make a single run here in the second round of Funny Car, in the pit area, frustrated, disappointed, Al Sigrini, his car already loaded into the trailer. That must be painful to hear Bonin up there knowing you should be alongside him.
Yeah, it sure is, because we had everything working our way the first round. We figured the track would be a little slippery as it was. We had the clutch dialed in it, slid out there and ran like we expected it to. So we had the clutch working and everything. And the motor just let us down. We had rod failure on the other end. So it was a big disappointment to us seeing it.
No spare engine?
Well, we had hurt one qualifying also, so this was down to the second motor, and we had plenty of parts other than the block, so we just couldn't do anything without a block.
Well, our condolences. You did a great job here.
Thank you very much, Steve.
From New York, Al Sigrini.
A tough break for Al Sigrini, but a big advantage for Gordy Bonin as he has no competition. He can just sort of take it easy. He's not taking it too easy, though. He tested the starting line, found it lacking, but still ran 6.92 seconds, 221 miles an hour. Funny Car Semifinals as the horsepower increases. The questions are going to be raised. How is this track? It worked well for Bob Gooden as he established a new national record at 8.48 seconds for the Plymouth Arrow. But there's a lot of difference between a factory hot rod, the Pro Stock, and these 2,000 horsepower funny cars. In the near lane, Raymond Beedle driving the Blue Max. He's up against Gordy Bonin from Delta, British Columbia, Canada. Burnout's completed, both cars staged. Bonin smoking the tires, and something goes wrong with Beedle's car, and it's Bonin pulling out a victory. 6.93 seconds at 223 miles an hour. The instant replay shows us Bonin smoking the tires. Beedle apparently off to a good start. But what happens? Something goes away. You saw the motor go up by the exhaust coming out of the side of the car, and Bonin takes the win. Let's go to Steve at the finish line.
So you smoked the tires, and do you have any idea what happened to Raymond?
I don't know. I was about ready to get out of it, and then I saw him course, you know me, I never get out of it, so.
You won this race a couple of years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago, and we plan on trying her again.
The man that has won 4 World Championship titles in a row, Don the Snake Prudhomme, has chosen the left lane. We just saw Gordy Bonin smoke the tires in front of him, but this is the lane where he ran 6.31 seconds, one of the better elapsed times with eliminations in the previous round. He's facing the man that is currently leading the World Championship points chase, Tom Hoover in the Showtime Corvette. And this time it's Prudhomme smoking the tires. Hoover having some engine problems, but it doesn't matter. He got there first, and he's in the finals for the second major event in a row, 6.50 seconds. His speed, 226 miles an hour. Don Prudhomme taking an early turnoff and a very disappointed man, as Prudhomme had hoped to get back into the winner's circle at this Gator Nationals Championship. The instant replay shows instant smoke off of the tires of Don Prudhomme's Plymouth Aero-bodied funny car. And that is enough to cost you a race in championship drag racing. Hoover with some engine problems. You can see the exhaust as it comes out the side of the car, indicating that there's something going wrong with his car. Let's go again to Steve Evans.
Disappointed Don Prudhomme, who hates to see funny cars go into the final rounds with 650s and 690s when you qualified low at 615, but Bridge were beaten by the pavement.
Yeah, apparently so. The track seemed to go away today for everybody, and we're just caught up in the situation.
If you had it to do over again, would you still take the left-hand lane?
Yeah, I don't think it matters. I believe Raymond Beedle smoked tires in the right-hand lane, so it's just the car was too stout at the time, and it's a difficult thing to contend with because of the air changes. It gets colder. It's very hard.
In the Tom Hoover pit area, some work going on there to the engine. Steve Evans is with Tom Hoover, and let's find out what's going on.
They're disassembling the entire motor, it looks like. How's it look?
It looks fine. We changed one piston right now, and they're putting it back together, and I don't want to make too much power because this racetrack, that's not the way it is. So I'll hold it down and hopefully I can do the same thing again.
You have lane choice. I assume you'll take the right-hand lane again, providing nothing happens between now and then.
Yes, that's my game plan right now.
Gordy Bonin, what do you look for him to do? Try to soft pedal it, hope you make a mistake?
Well, we've both been here before. He's been there at different races, but you never know until it's over. I respect them all.
Okay, from Minnesota, Tom Hoover going into the final round and the World Championship points leader.
Thank you, Steve, and here come the funny cars, Tom Hoover and the Showtime Corvette. For the second race in a row, he is in the finals, and the gathering twilight, you can see now the flames coming out of the exhaust pipe. These funny cars burning nitromethane for fuel, making approximately 2,000 horsepower. Hoover matched up against Gordy Bonin, the Canadian that won this race a couple of years ago. And at this point, it is anybody's race. Who knows what the racetrack is going to do? Both drivers have expressed their concern over it. Let's watch and see what happens as they approach the starting line for the finals in Funny Car Eliminator. And it is Bonin up in smoke. Hoover right with him. They're still side by side. And a tremendous race at the finish line. Gordy Bonin wins the Gator National, 6.93 seconds. The crew just jubilant over the victory by Gordy Bonin, and Tom Hoover with nothing to be ashamed of. As you can see, they leave the starting line. Bonin with a little bit of a hole shot. Hoover, as he said, tried to keep it down on power. And they're side by side going into the finish line speed trap.
When it's your day, it's your day. I guess that's the story. Gordy Bonin, you had a tremendous hole shot. You won with a slower elapsed time.
Oh, darn, huh?
Your crew chief, Jerry Verhill, can no longer accuse you of being late, right? You just gave it all back. How's it feel?
Oh, boy, well, it wasn't really my day. I guess it turned out to be my day, but God, I mean, we've done everything wrong, like I told you, and it's still working, so.
You split a motor earlier. That was expensive.
Yeah, first round for no apparent reason. I mean, they shut us off because the lights were screwed up, and then we ran it again, and maybe it was just too hot, and it smoked the bearings out the lights or whatever, but boy, nice to be here.
So the prize money goes back to Canada.
Back to Edmonton, Vancouver, and Seattle.
Earlier in the evening, the overflow Cajun Nationals crowd at State Capitol Dragway thrilled to the 8 low qualifiers in the first round of Funny Car Eliminator. The defending champion Bob Pickett ran against Kenny Bernstein in the first round, and Pickett, losing to Bernstein, lost his chance to become a repeat champion. Tom Hoover, the hottest driver in the funny car circuit today and currently leading the World Championship Series points chase, losing out to Raymond Beedle in the famed Blue Max. Simon Menzies in the far lane overstaged and red-lighted away his chance as he had a shot at the low qualifier Ron Coulson. The national champion Tom McEwen against John Force in first round racing at the Cajun Nationals, and John Force prevailing, eliminating the Mongoose in round number 1. The racers remaining in the semifinals include Kenny Bernstein. 5 years in retirement, coming out last season, this year marking it very well. Ron Coulson drives for Roland Leong. The title of the car, the name of the car, the Hawaiian. John Force, a longtime West Coast racer, moving into the top-of-the-line National Championship Tour in 1979 and doing a great job, will be racing in the semifinals, the Blue Max and Raymond Beedle from Dallas, Texas. This is Kenny Bernstein. Bernstein out of Austin, Texas against the low qualifier Ron Coulson, driving Roland Leong's Hawaiian. Bernstein, as we told you, out of drag racing for some 5 years. Prior to that, he had driven top fuel dragsters and funny cars both. Laying out for about 5 years, starting his own business, becoming a very successful independent businessman, deciding to come back into drag racing and doing it a big way. Ron Coulson, the latest in a series of top drivers, for one of the best-known car owners in the business, Roland Leong. He always calls his cars Hawaiian, and his entries have won several national championship titles. In the darkness at State Capitol Dragway at Baton Rouge, this is semifinal round racing in Funny Car Eliminator. Both cars stayed. They leave the line together. A lot of smoke coming from the rear tires of both cars as Bernstein holding on for the win. Bernstein taking it at 6.49 seconds. His speed only 202 miles an hour. Here in instant replay, you see Ron Coulson going up in smoke. Kenny Bernstein driving all over the racetrack as both cars losing traction.
Kenny Bernstein down here remarking that it's getting a little loose. You're all over the racetrack.
Well, I'm telling you, I didn't even know if I was going to hang on for a second. She just got completely sideways. It recovered okay, but I guess we put a little bit too much power in there for what's happening to the weather right now.
We have to go back somewhere in the 60s to find Kenny Bernstein in the final round, don't we?
A long time ago, I tell you. I think 73 of the Winter Nationals was a runner-up there, but this is the first major one that we got to the final in a long, long time.
Okay, we'll let you get back to that beautiful black truck of yours in the pit area as Leroy Goldstein, your crew chief, gets it ready.
Right. Thank you very much.
A very dejected Ron Coulson heading back to his tow truck and will be going back into the pits, loading the Hawaiian, heading to another racetrack in another day. This is John Force, the Corvette-bodied funny car, to match up against Raymond Beedle and the crew gathering around Beedle's car. Off in the darkness, it's difficult to tell exactly what is happening, but Beedle's crew working frantically is yet to fire. Force having completed his initial burnout. Force only 29 years old, just started into the national tour this season, and thus far has got some fine elapsed time for that Corvette-bodied funny car. But of course, the Blue Max, one of the best known names in all of drag racing. Force not taking advantage of the one shot that he might have to take an easy single. He could have pulled up and staged, and then it would have been the pressure on Beedle to fire it and get it to the line immediately. Force doing another burnout, obviously going to be trying for the best time that he can. You saw there the starter giving the signal. It'll be a single, and that's what's being signaled from the Beedle crew. That's it. The Blue Max out of competition. Some mechanical problems. We'll attempt to find out why, as John Force on a single run. He must make the same number of runs as his competitor, which is Kenny Bernstein, having already won his semifinal match. It'll be Bernstein against Force in the finals at the Cajun Nationals. Right now, let's see if he can notch a low elapsed time, lower than the 6.49 second time by Bernstein, to give him lane choice. John Force on his way to a good run. He does not. 6.52 seconds at 227 miles an hour, and that could be an important factor in the competition in the finals as to who gets the choice of lane. A dejected crew around Raymond Beedle's car. The car, we understand, unable to fire because of ignition problems.
Well, Dave, certainly it's going to be two of the most beautiful funny cars in all the world in the final round here at the Cajun Nationals. Kenny Bernstein's Chelsea King out of Texas and from California. In his rookie year on the Pro Tour, he's been drag racing on the West Coast for a number of years, but the first time with a really quality operation is John Forrest. And I'll tell you what, when he gets the helmet off, it'll probably be full of adrenaline. These guys have worked hard. John Forrest, did you think it was possible? The final round of national event.
Can I say, the Lord's with me here. I'm digging that. She, I guess, breaks didn't fall with Raymond there, and they fell with me, and I'm going to put Wendy's right in the winner's circle on this next one because she ran good, and she shook just a shade, but she was making it. She's ready to run.
Okay, you didn't get lane choice, so Bernstein ran a little quicker. Is that a factor, do you think?
It could be a factor, but I think when the Lord's rolling with you, it's rolling. I'm going in that final round.
On a hot roll, John Forrest.
That's the finals for the Cajun Nationals. It'll be John Forrest in his Corvette-bodied car against Kenny Bernstein driving the Plymouth Aero-bodied creation. We'll see the final between Bob Glidden and Lee Shepard in just a moment, but right now, the sound of funny cars. John Forrest driving the Corvette-bodied car, Forrest hailing from Placentia, California, up against Austin, Texas, Kenny Bernstein. The 34-year-old Bernstein returning to drag racing last season after a 5-year layoff, at which time he formed his own business chain of restaurants throughout the United States and decided to come back into drag racing first class, and he did it with his beautiful Plymouth Aero-bodied car. John Forrest, a longtime racer on the West Coast, he also picking up a major sponsorship and deciding to head on the national tour throughout all of 1979, and he's earned his way right here into the finals at the Cajun Nationals. Two of the best funny cars in the country meeting at State Capitol Dragway in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The burnouts completed, both the drivers approaching the starting line, concentrating on the Christmas tree, trying to eke out that little bit of advantage at the starting line that may put them ahead at the finish line. Let's watch. And it's John Forrest out first, but something goes wrong, and Kenny Bernstein wins his first ever NHRA national title. 6.45 seconds at 233 miles an hour. Let's watch in the instant replay. You see the flames standing off from the headers, indicating they're at full throttle as they leave the line. Right there, some mechanical problems set in for John Forrest. He is forced to shut it off, and Kenny Bernstein wins the race. Steve's at the finish line with the champ.
Dave, absolutely one of the most beautiful cars in all of drag racing in any category finds the winner's circle here at the Cajun Nationals. Its owner, its driver, a businessman racer, Kenny Bernstein, making his first visit to glory NHRA style. Many, many years ago, he raced as far as runner-up, retired from racing to become a very, very successful restaurant and bar owner throughout the Southwest. Congratulations, Kenny Bernstein.
Just great. Just super.
Were you a little sick there for a moment when Forrest was out in front of you?
Well, yeah, you know, the car left pretty good, and then it seemed to get the tires loose again, and I was wondering for a second we were going to get back around him, but then she took off, and I don't know what happened to him, but we're here, and that's what counts.
Well, congratulations to you. You've brought a lot of class to this sport. Not only your race car, but your transporter. Everything you do seems to have that, just that touch of class and polish.
Well, that's a super compliment, Steve, from you and anybody else, and I really appreciate that. We like to do it that way. We think that the sport deserves it, and we think, just like I did 5 years ago when I quit, if I couldn't go back into it first class and really do it the right way, I just wouldn't do it, and I appreciate the compliment because it makes me feel great.
Back at National Trail Raceway, this is Carl Olson with Ken Squire, where a record crowd is waiting for the Funny Car Semifinals, in which we'll see some of the most expensive equipment in the sport, which goes far beyond what we'll see on the racetrack. And here's Ken to take a closer look at some of that equipment.
For those of you who think that drag racing is 3 minutes of snap, crackle, and pop for about 6 seconds of zoom, take a look at this Kenny Bernstein rig from Texas. $265,000 of home away from home. In this cab, the interior is a combination of a luxurious yacht, and the instruments look like they come out of a flight deck on a commercial airliner. And this is the throne room. It has all the trappings, all the attendants that one would anticipate for a monarch of motorsport. And in here are the logistical supplies to keep this machine running for 10 months on the road without returning to the home fortress. Even a second vehicle to squire this car back and forth to the starting line. But perhaps most impressive is this arsenal, this engine room, with enough bits and pieces to rebuild and regroup after any skirmish, and enough major pieces, 3 of these $16,000 engines, to win any war.
All that equipment didn't help Ken Bernstein, Ken, and it's important to note that every funny car racer here came with that kind of an investment.
Well, here are 2 of the top. This is Al Sigrini, and the man he's facing is Don Prudhomme. This is second round elimination. Sigrini from Utica, Rome, New York, has the unenviable task of facing the Snake, 4-time world champion, winner of 27 national events. There he is, the great Don Prudhomme coming to the line. He has to be the heavy favorite here, Carl.
Oh, you bet. He's almost unbeatable, although he has been having a little trouble in recent months, Ken.
They stay. Prudhomme near side. Al Sigrini from upstate New York, far side, both in Plymouth. How much horsepower about to unleash here?
About 4,000 altogether, Ken.
The lights are off, and they're away. Upset. Sigrini is defeating Don Prudhomme, who won it here a year ago. 226 miles per hour. Al Sigrini advancing in this national championship event at Columbus, Ohio. Funny car competition. Don Prudhomme is eliminated before they get to the semis. Look at this start another time. Prudhomme near side. Al Sigrini, a relative unknown compared to Don Prudhomme, just puts it to him. A beautiful run for Al Sigrini. What has happened to Don Prudhomme? Here's Carl Olson.
Don't hurry now.
Don, it's been kind of a tough week, but you got this far. How do you feel about it?
Well, you know, I'm just lucky to get this far. We've really been struggling, and, you know, what can I say? Sigrini run good, and the show's over.
Thank you.
So the show is over for Don Prudhomme, but certainly not the year or the coming years. He is still one of the greatest names that drag racing has to offer. Pulling away from a bad day at Columbus, Ohio, Don Prudhomme. And the man that beat him is Al Sigrini, who moves on in the semis. This is Sigrini. Who will he face? Gary Burgin, that's who, winner of the U.S. Nationals in 1976. First semi-matchup. Second semi-matchup, the Blue Max. Ray Beedle faces Ron Coulson, the Hawaiian. 2 excellent semi-final rounds. And here is Burgin, the 33-year-old Stanton, California campaigner, being encapsulated in his machine, the Orange Baron. What about Burgin and Sigrini? These are 2 names you don't hear too much about.
No, it's very rare that you see either of these cars get this far. Sigrini's really having the national event of his life. He was the quickest qualifier in this field, and he ran very well in the first 2 rounds. Burgin, on the other hand, always runs strong, big numbers, but for some reason he doesn't seem to have the luck to carry him through.
Now, what were those 2 machines doing right there?
They're making their burnouts, Ken. That's getting the tires spinning in the bleach box, running across the starting line, laying down a hot layer of rubber. The crew then backs these cars right back in their tracks, and you have rubber-to-rubber adhesion for leaving the starting line with maximum traction.
Sticky on sticky to really get them off and out of that box in a hurry. We have a fire coming out of Sigrini's car. Out of the headers, you can see what looks to me like a real problem here.
You bet it is, Ken. There's something definitely wrong with that car. That flame out of the number 1 cylinder is getting worse, and it looks like it's catching the side of the body on fire.
Blowtorch on Al Sigrini's automobile all the way from Utica, Rome, New York, and it looks like it's all going up in smoke for Sigrini right here at the starting line. That has to be a frustration. And there's the sign. It's all over for Al Sigrini before he ever was able to make the race. And Gary Burton will still make his run. And, of course, the guy who goes the fastest gets the choice of lane in the finals. For sure he's going to stand on it. Right, Carl?
You bet. He's going to put this thing to the wood and run it all the way out the back door, because lane choice is always very valuable in a championship event like this.
The Orange Baron, Gary Burgin, to the line. Solo run. Important that it is a good run. He needs a good elapsed time to have the selection of lane in the finals.
Boy, and there's a lot of tire smoke, Ken. He's broken the tires loose, and I'm sure that's going to result in a poor time. That's it. 6.51 is not a good time.
And now to the line, the second semi, the Blue Max. This is Ray Beedle, Plymouth, out of Dallas, Texas. He squares off against Ron Coulson, the Hawaiian. And there looks to be a problem on the car from Addison, Illinois, the Hawaiian.
I think that car is locked in reverse, Ken. Every time he hits the throttle, it jumps backwards, and it doesn't look like it wants to go back into forward gear.
So here again in the semis, it's going to be decided, predestined for Ray Beedle to make the finals, as there's this problem with Ron Coulson with that Corvette machine. 1,500 pounds, a funny car with everything at stake, about $11,000 to win. Ray Beedle is underway.
Oh, and he gets very wild on the top end, Ken. It looked like he was running over some of his own oil with an engine problem, and he only runs a 6.59, which is going to cost him lane choice in the final.
And here you see the Hawaiian being rolled backward. Ron Coulson stuck in reverse and just out of luck here in these nationals at Columbus, Ohio. And on the other end of the course, we have disasters on both ends of the course. It looks like the Blue Max is not able to shut off. The engine is still running.
Well, that engine is hurt, Ken. There's pieces coming out of it, and it's liable. Oh, there it goes.
Beedle's engine finally expiring after devouring itself. Must have dropped a rod or something and just couldn't shut off for some reason. And notice how quickly those safety crews were there. The Hawaiian being rolled away on one end of the course. Meanwhile, on the top end, here is Ray Beedle out of that car. Carl Olson standing by to try to get a word with Ray Beedle, who really rode down a hot one. Here's Carl.
That's all right.
What happened, Raymond?
Well, we had a bearing hurt that last round, and we sanded it, and we knew we was going to have to change it this round, so I guess he went ahead and let the rod go. We thought it'd be good for one more round. We had to wait up there a little extra, waiting on rolling.
How come the engine wouldn't shut off down here?
Evidently, the fuel shut-off must have slipped off the cable or something. They switched cables, so evidently it must have slipped off.
So we're looking at a new motor for the final.
We were planning on putting a fresh one in for the final anyway.
And you're looking at Ray Beedle, who makes it into the finals here at Columbus, Ohio. The Blue Max with a new engine will be outfitted and ready to roar. He'll be running against the Orange Baron, Gary Burgin, as we move to the finals of this great national championship, National Hot Rod Association event. Burgin versus Beedle coming up. You're in the pits of Ray Beedle here at Columbus, Ohio in this National Drag Championship event, one of 11 each year. And it's a critical time for Ray Beedle. They're changing the engine on the Blue Max, and it has to be right by milliseconds, or it's all for naught today. Meanwhile, the engine on his competitor. This is Burgin. The man, Gary Burgin, who's won one national championship event, making final adjustments, and in the pits, a large crowd, unusual, but what we see a lot of in this kind of drag competition. Right now, it's the funny car finale from Columbus, Ohio. You're looking at the Orange Baron from Stanton, California, Gary Burgin, and there's the Blue Max, ready to go once again with the veteran Ray Beedle out of Dallas, Texas. How do you see it, Carl Olson?
Well, you just can't call a race like this. They both had trouble, but they've also both run good.
They're off. Burgin away. Beedle comes back. Burgin throwing out a lot of smoke. Burgin wins it. The 1976 national champion, runner-up at Senaire in Montreal a year ago. Victorious. His crew is ecstatic. Let's watch the replay here. On the start, a little bit sideways, and then gathering it back up, a lot of smoke out from underneath the car of Burgin. The Beedle car on the inside, remember they made an engine change, apparently they just didn't have enough time, and Burgin comes home the winner. Here's Carl.
6:49 wasn't the quickest run that was made here this weekend, but it was good enough to win. What kind of trouble did you encounter out there?
Well, towards the afternoon, of course, like we said before, the heat of the day makes the track get somewhat slippery, you know, and it makes it hard to make horsepower. And the track just gets awful tricky. You know, we smoked the tires twice.
It's good enough to get to the finish line first. I guess that's what counts. Congratulations, Gary.
Thank you, Carl.
one of the biggest wins of his career for Gary Burgin.